Say you were to visit Madeira for a week. Imagine you're standing here. Or here. Imagine you swim here. Or you visit this. Or this. How much would you have to pay for a week full of adventure, breathtaking sceneries, and unique moments? Let me take you with us, show you exactly what we did and how much we had to pay during our week in Madeira. Right after arriving on the beautiful island of Portugal, we got the car we booked online. The price was €24 for a week. Believe it or not, the rental car cost €6 per person for a week. Then we drove to the apartment we got through Airbnb in Funchal, where we would stay all our days in Madeira without relocating. The island is not big, and the furthest ride is just an hour, so there was no point to change location. One more reason was the deal we got, but we will talk about this later. So next day, day 1, we drove to Pico Arieiro, from where we would hike to Pico Ruivo, the highest peak of Madeira. This is one of the best hikes I've had in my life, a bit challenging, but worth every step. It's about 6 kilometers with 550 meters elevation gain one way, so double that if you return to the starting point to get your car, which is what we did. I guess you can plan for transportation to wait for you at the end. The hike from Pico Arieiro to Pico Ruivo is a must if you're in Madeira. You might want to skip if you're uncomfortable with heights. The views and scenery during these more or less 6 hours are out of this world. Make sure you have some snacks with you and plenty of water. In Pico Arieiro, there is a cafe restaurant, but also at Pico Ruivo, about 400 meters from the top, where the path from the parking and Pico Arieiro meet, there is a restaurant and toilet. Of course, you can start also from Pico Ruivo, but in this case, you add 2.5 kilometers and 250 meters of elevation that you need to cover from the parking up to Pico Ruivo. Regarding entrance fee and parking price, there was none. The next morning, although wrecked from the previous day, we got up really early to go to São Lourenço for sunrise. The drive was just 30 minutes from Funchal to the small roundabout at the end of the road. The hike itself is very beautiful. Dramatic cliffs and impressive scenery during the 3 kilometer and about an hour 15 you need to get to the end. Amazing views on both sides of the path, north and south. Viewpoints where you can catch your breath while marveling at the colorful cliffs and rocks. Take some water since even in February it got really warm. And again, no entrance fee to visit this place. On the same day, right after São Lourenço, would be our first visit to Elevada, what Madeira is famous for. We decided to start with Elevada Calderaio Verde. The drive from Funchal to Queimadas Forestry Park is about 40 minutes. We've never seen a place like this before. We're walking next to steep cliffs with water running in the Levada in one side and lush green forest with beautiful view on the other. hike was about 6 kilometers one way, almost completely flat, going through many tunnels. A flashlight will help, otherwise your mobile torch will be sufficient. At the end you will reach the big waterfall. It's an excellent place for a snack break before you head back. Next morning we drove 20 minutes north of Funchal to the Eira do Cerrado viewpoint, near Curral das Freiras. Many hiking options in this area, offering stunning views and vertical cliffs surrounding the valley in the middle of the island. Then we returned south, and after 30 minutes we arrived at Ponta do Sol for a short walk. It's a charming town with red-roofed houses, beautiful alleys and historic architecture. Ponta do Sol, meaning sun point, is said to receive more sunshine throughout the year than any other part of Madeira. After our walk, we thought it's time for a car wash. So we drove through the Anjos waterfall, just 5 minutes from Ponta do Sol. The water falls on the road and then spills into the sea below. With our shiny, freshly washed car, we drove 30 minutes to the westmost part of Madeira, Ponta do Pargo. We parked at Miradouro do Fio, which also offers excellent views of the cliffs and has a restaurant. From there we walked 15 minutes to the lighthouse, but you can also drive there. But if you visit this place, we strongly recommend you also go to Miradouro da Garganta Funda. Just 5 minutes driving and 5 minutes more of walking will get you there. You have similar views of the ocean, plus an impressive waterfall, one of the highest of the island, Cascada da Garganta Funda, which is falling almost directly in the ocean over approximately 140 meters. On the fourth day, we drove 50 minutes to the Levada 25 Fonts and Risco waterfall, one of the most popular hikes of the island. From the parking to the actual hike, there is a 45-minute downhill walk. On the way back, when we finished, we took the shuttle in order to save time and skip the 1.5 kilometer uphill walk. The hike is through lush vegetation and beautiful scenery, which ended at a beautiful waterfall. Then we did the other part of the hike to the impressive Risco waterfall. After finishing, we drove just 10 minutes through the only plateau of the island, to the Miradouro da Bica da Cana. It was not high on our list, but we thought to stop and have a look. It was a bit before sunset, and since we didn't have any high expectations from this place, it turned out to be the biggest surprise of our trip. The fifth day was probably the most tiring and busiest regarding stops and sightseeing. We woke up very early in the morning to watch the sunrise from Madeira's highest peak, Pico Uruivu. The 1-hour drive took us to the parking lot at Achada do Teixeira. From there, the hike to the peak was 2.5 kilometers and took us about 40 minutes with a fast pace. And this is what we experienced. One of the most beautiful sunrises we have ever seen. The rest of the day was dedicated to the north part of the island. After an hour, we arrived at São Vicente. We stopped here also 2 days ago after returning from Ponta do Bargo for a late lunch, but wanted to explore more the area, and especially this part of the old road called the Ribeira do Inferno, 1 kilometer west of São Vicente. Then we drove 15 minutes to the west to check the rocks next to the beach at Ilhéus de Janela. With just 5 minutes more of driving, we arrived at the place we were looking forward visiting, the natural pools of Porto Moniz. We finished the day by driving 20 minutes to Miraduro do Teleférico das Achadas da Cruz. Yet again, stunning views of the ocean to the west. And of course, we took the cable car down the 500-meter drop to the beach, where the traditional village of Faja da Quebrada Nova is nestled, right under the huge cliffs. The cost of the cable car was €3 per person. If you miss the last cable car at 6 p.m., you'll have to walk all the way up. For our last full day, we thought it was time to take it easy. So we wandered in the streets of Funchal and bought some delicious fruit at the food market. After a couple of hours walking around, we drove 20 minutes to the Cabo Girau Skywalk. Beautiful views from the highest cliff of the island, 580 meters. There was no entrance fee here either at the time of our visit. Before returning to Funchal, we had to stop at this place that we saw a couple of times, Taverna da Poncha, to try the traditional local drink in the right place. On our last day, we dropped at the airport one of our friends who was leaving earlier and decided to go one more time to Pico Arrieiro and walk about 30 minutes to the narrow part of the path to Pico Ruivu. And on the way back to the airport, we made a brief stop at Ponta do Garahau, where the big statue of Jesus Christ is. And this is how we spent our 7 days in Madeira. I understand our plan was a bit intense and tiring, but we like to see as many things as possible. Now, regarding the apartment, I know we got very lucky. We booked a new listing and was still on promo price. And again, believe it or not, we paid for this apartment €200 for a week, €50 per person. That makes car rental and accommodation €57 per person for the whole week. Then we add gas, €100, 25 per person. Parking, which was mostly in Funchal, just next to the food market and we used a couple of times, was about 10 to 15 euro, so about 3 per person. We ate out 3 times and it cost €50 per person. Adding the rest of the days what we were cooking at home, I would say we spent on food about €110 per person. So to wrap it up, for a week like this in Madeira, we spent less than €200 per person. With some souvenirs or coffee or beer here and there, might be closer to 220. But still, this place is not only extremely affordable, but also one of the best trips I've ever had. Hope you liked this video. Don't hesitate to leave a comment if you want to ask something, or to tell us about some beautiful place that we missed. Take care and see you next time.